The Do This podcast is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network. In today's episode of the Do This podcast, hosts Bob Stewart and Chad Hyams welcome Ryan Greigg, a seasoned real estate expert, to discuss the power of consistency, effective routines, and the role they play in achieving success both in real estate and in life. The conversation centers on leveraging the compounding effect of consistent actions, effectively using CRM tools like Brivity, and prioritizing tasks such as setting appointments to drive business growth. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Do This podcast presented by Brivity.
Welcome, everybody, to Just Do This. And I don't know if you guys, if people join us for long enough, Chad, they realize, there's
we don't know what we're talking about. Oh, sorry.
Well, there's certain energies in our call. I bring the nervous energy, the anxious energy. That's my energy. The two gentlemen today and our guests, you guys, I think of you guys as kale smoothie energy, wake up at 4:30 a.m. and do push-ups energy, right? Real energy. So let's welcome to Just Do This, your former co-host on the 15-Point Plan podcast and one of my favorite people in real estate, Ryan Greigg. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing fantastic. Bob. Hello, Chad. It's great to see you guys. It's great to be here. I'm excited for today.
Cool.
Well, David, to have you here, Ryan.
Do you see that? David Wiggs is talking about Ryan and my energy. He called it handsome energy, Chad. David, I don't know what you have for Chad, but
I get it.
Zinger. All right, Ryan Greigg, we thank you for coming. First of all, I know that it's not like you have a whole bunch of free time in your day, right? You're a dad, you're a soccer coach. I saw you the other night emceeing some fundraiser or something in the community.
Yeah.
You lead a real estate team, you sell real estate. You were just telling me you were on the floor. Was it this morning or last night on the verge of tears because one of your deals was falling apart and you were trying to keep it together? So do me a favor. I don't know. I gave you some things that might be found on a bio. Can you introduce yourself to our audience and maybe share some other things that you might want them to know about you, but also tap them in on kind of what do you do in real estate? What's your role?
You're a Spartan.
I'm a Spartan racer. Yes, Chad, I am. Thank you, Chad, for pushing me to do that. My name is Ryan Greigg. I'm here in Bellingham, Washington. I've been working with Ben and all the team for a decade, actually, 10 years. Will be my anniversary in May. So I've been doing this 10 years. My previous career was a DJ. I was a touring manager and traveling all over the world playing reggae and hip hop and Caribbean music. And when my son Bentley was born 13 years ago next week, I decided, you know what, it's time to make a change. And that was when I got into the real estate business. So I'm a father. I'm a son of an amazing mother who I had dinner with last night. I am a realtor. I am a passionate person about my son's sports club. I give back a lot to that sports club, the Rangers, the local organization here. And I'm a health nut like Chad. I like to wake up fairly early in the morning and make sure that I'm doing all the morning routine things to get my mind right so that I can show up here prepared. Yesterday, one of the top agents in the office was talking during our morning meeting, and he said, Ryan, you're so enthusiastic. How do you do it? And it was 8:45, and I said, dude, I've been up for 4 hours. I have this unfair advantage that I get up and I do a lot of morning routine practices because it's what helps me show up the way I want to show up. So I'm really passionate about the morning routine, and I'm incredibly passionate about real estate. And Bob, Chad, you guys have helped me so much. Ben has helped me so much. I consider it my duty to spend a little time here and there, like this 30 minutes that we're going to do today, to give back to the real estate community that's given me so much. So that's what I'm here to do today.
I love it.
Bob, before you get into anything, can I ask everybody what time they wake up? Not judging, right? I don't care if you wake up at 9 o'clock. I mean, Bob is not a morning guy. I know if I text Bob too early, he's just slept right through it and he'll miss it.
I mean, I'm trying to stay in bed till 8 o'clock. My kids don't necessarily.
I love that I can't see your cup there. It was amazing how it was blurred out. And stop trying to do anything, Bob. Right? So type in the chat box. Let us know what time.
Well, it's real easy for Gary Vaynerchuk to talk to me about how to raise my kids when he doesn't have them in the house right now. Chad's are gone. He forgets. A 7-year-old will come in and drop an elbow on you. So I try to
wake up before them.
No,
wake up before them.
I got my
look,
routine.
what I'm going to tell everybody in their defense and in Bob's defense is it doesn't matter what time you get up. The people that don't get up at 4:30, I get to bed early, right? So they're probably staying up till 10, 11, maybe later. It doesn't matter when you get up or when you go to bed. All that matters is that you find the practice that works for you so you can show up at whatever time with the energy that you need to give the world what they need.
So Ryan, to me, that's a routine, right?
Yeah.
Like Chad, I joke, but it's like the routine is the boys come in and right, I'm up, and then we're getting them ready for school and out the door, and I've got like blocked on my calendar that time to spend with my kids in the morning. Ryan, can you talk? Have you always been like when you were out DJing? Were you always like the routine guy that got up and did your workout, and or have you kind of turned into this person? And if you've turned into this person, do you have any tips for how? Because I think routines are critical. Like as I watch the people that have big success, something they're doing is routine.
100%. And no, I haven't always been that way, Bob. It turned into that out of necessity because I wanted to make a change in my life. I was broke. I was not in the best shape. I was going through the hardest time of my life, going through a divorce, going through death of parents and parent in-laws and getting in trouble. And I needed to make a change. And what I found was when I looked up and looked around, people were doing certain things. They were waking up early. They were getting their movement in. They were eating right. They were learning. And now we call it the 15-point plan, right? But what I learned, and this applies in life and it applies to your business, is these two C's, right? Coaching and consistency. And when building my business and in building my life, I found that if you can add coaching and consistency into your life, whether that's your business or your routine or whatever it is, coaching plus consistency equals compounding success.
Look at all those C's. I love that.
I wish I had I always joke that like if Ben and Chris are co-founders at Place and Brivity, we're off like in a secret lab, Ryan, trying to create a pill that guaranteed real estate success. Consistency would like be the pill that they were trying to develop. So what do you do for your real estate business consistently?
Number one, I show up, Bob. Number one is simply showing up. Winners show up. Winners show up when they don't want to. Winners show up when they're tired. Winners show up when they don't feel like it. You got to show up is step number one. So you got to consistently show up and you got to consistently put in the work. And if you do that, and then if you're new to something, you find the people that have done the things that you want to do, you ask for help. And that was what I did.
Hold on. Like, because I think some people would say like, yeah, I'm in the office every morning. Is that what you mean? Show up, like just come to the office?
That's a start. I think
okay.
The start is getting in the door. And if you work from home, that's cool too. So a start is getting in the door and getting your systems right. But no, you could sit in the office for 8 hours and not do anything. It's very easy to be working in the office or be working from home. So you have to start applying the systems. And I think that's what we're here to talk about today is what systems that we use. How do you show up and how do you build that consistency of showing up and do the right things in the right order?
Okay.
How long did it take you to get the order right?
Too long, but I would say realistically 2 years. I love the quote of real estate. If you're willing to sacrifice 3 years, you'll set yourself up for the next 30.
Okay. And I just want the audience to realize that, folks, you might start to put a routine together. Like Ryan, it might take you 2 years to figure out, oh, wait, my energy's better here. I got to move that thing here or this thing there, or this seems to always run long. And it's a jigsaw puzzle or a Jenga stack, maybe better, that you're moving those pieces to figure out the routine. Don't think you're going to get it immediately. And thank you, Chuck.
All right, Ryan. So you get in the office in the morning. Talk us through that routine that your team uses, that you use. I know you've got a partner, Ryan Randall, that you guys run the business together. Like, talk for me for a sec. What is that routine for you guys? By the way, look, I'm gonna joke. You can skip I get up at 4 o'clock. I do the workout.
Start at work.
I eat the Yale smoothie. Yeah, the kale smoothie. Yeah. Well, once you walk in the door at the office, what does it look like?
That's right. We could talk about all that morning routine stuff on another call, and I'd be happy to with somebody. But today we're here to talk about in-office activities. But you guys are both into sports, and I imagine some of our listeners are into sports. Look, nobody goes out there and they just hop on the court and start shooting hoops. You got to warm up. And the way we warm up is we show up for a morning meeting, or maybe you call it a power up. So I come into my office every day, Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock. We do a morning meeting at 8:30. That morning meeting is a stand-up meeting. It's a high energy meeting. It's a gratitude-based meeting. And it's an active meeting where I'm starting to talk. I'm starting to get the machine going before I start to call clients. And we're practicing our scripts. I've been doing this 10 years. You guys know this. And I still practice my scripts. Why? Because look, I woke up. I maybe haven't said anything to anybody. I'm doing my personal time first thing in the morning. I got to get my gears going. I got to get my vocal cords going. So we do our scripts. We practice before we play. And then we get on the phones. Let's be realistic. I'm here to contact people. And the hardest thing in my real estate business is getting on the phones, contacting people, and setting appointments. But I know that if I do that regularly and just set one appointment a day, or on a good day, maybe I set 2 or 3, great. But if I'm setting one appointment a day consistently, well, guess what? That's 5 appointments a week. And I'm going to go meet with a seller, and I'm going to get 80 to 90% of those signed. That's a pretty dang good business. So step number 1, show up, go through the morning routine, get warmed up.
Let's drill on the morning routine for a second, because I think there's a few things to unpack there. I remember Ben telling, he's told this story many, many times, but like, he was a single agent in the beginning. He didn't have anybody to do that with. And so he just went into his office, into the training room in his office, and he invited other people to come in and do scripts with him. And he's like, the first week, like nobody came in there with me. But over, consistently, he's like, I'm going to do it. I'm showing up anyway. Consistently, he did it. And he attracted people that, wanted to have similar results to him. Obviously, today you guys have a team, right? When you show up for scripts, are like, does everybody have to come up with their own? Like, how do you guys, because I feel like if I was leading a team, I might get exhausted by the idea of like every morning I got to show up and like bring something for the team. Do you feel like you have to bring something, or is it like a group effort where, like, kind of talk through that, maybe that drunk monkey somebody has out there that goes, I can't power up my team every morning. Like, what would I say to them every morning? Like, I can do it once a week. Right? Because I feel like it's not a team meeting, right? Like, dispel the myth for me that like you have to bring something every day, or maybe you do, and how do you deal with that?
I think there's a combination of both, Bob. I think you're bringing new information every day, but let's be real, the market's changing every couple of months. So what I talked about 3 years ago in our morning meeting is not applying to today's meeting. What I talk about in next week's meeting is going to be tips and tricks and tools that we learned from our agents' experiences from last week. So I'm constantly talking with our agents, finding out what they're working on and how I can help. And then I batch that all into one meeting and talk about the scripts that we need to use, the objections that they're going through, and ultimately finding a way to give value to them every day. And do I have to do that? No, I get to. I get to show up. I'm honored to show up. I'm honored to give back because it keeps me sharp. I got to come with value every time I lead a meeting. If I don't, my team's they're not going to show up. So you're leading correctly when your team shows up and your team's paying attention and your team's asking questions. And that's going to help them just like you guys and Ben have helped me.
Ryan, let me ask you about the script. As Bob's getting into it, do you pick a script and work on it for a week? Are you every day it's a different script? Do you have a book of 1,000 scripts that you're just randomly picking one out? Talk about that script part of it to help your agents get better at the techniques. How do you choose the scripts? How long do you use the same script until they've got it?
There's really only a handful of scripts that we need. And I know a lot of people like myself, when they get started, they think, oh gosh, I don't want to do these scripts. It sounds robotic. Let me do my own thing. And then I started to use them and they started to work. And I thought, okay, why am I in need of any changes? Let's just use what works. And as I learned them and as I literally mastered them verbatim, now I can add my own personality to them. But the other thing with that is getting into the other things that really matter. And people get so scripted, they start getting transactional. And when you start getting too transactional, you're moving away from emotions. And when you move away from emotions, that's where you become robotic. So one thing I talk about often is a little less on the transaction, a little more with the emotion. So in those scripts, yes, we're taking the scripts, but then I'm saying, okay, now how can we layer onto that? How can we layer onto that? How can we connect with their heart and their emotions, because that's where they're going to say, you know what, Bob, gosh, you're really listening to me. And it sounds like you actually care. When can we meet? You know you got a good appointment. You know you've had a good conversation. When the client is asking you for the appointment, Bob, Chad, like, when can I come into your office? And
what are some of the, like, Ryan, what?
Wait, hang on. Ryan, you're really good at this. You didn't answer the question, though. You went to the next step because that's how you think. That's how your brain works. You are helping everybody already realize, look, it's about the emotion, not just the words that are coming out of it. It's about the listening. Okay. Is it the same script every week? Are there 5 scripts and every Monday is the same script? Help our people. You've built these routines. They're starting at scratch, some of them. Gotcha. How basic does it need to be?
It's incredibly basic, Chad, because I would be willing to bet most people that practice these scripts don't have them down verbatim. I think most people on this call know about maybe the LP Mama script, one of the most basic scripts there are. But could they actually recite it verbatim? For example, can they say, Chad, I know you're calling about a property that's here in Bellingham. Is that the exact area that you're looking to buy in? Or are you open to other areas as well? Because what they're going to say is, hey, Chad, I saw you're looking at a place in Bellingham. Is that what you're up to? Very close, but it's not the exact word. And then what we do is we layer it off that. Chad, that was really good. Now try this. Chad, that was even better. Now try this. How did that make you feel when we practiced that? So we are using the same scripts. I'm not coming with.
So no, hang on. I'm going to get the answer, everybody. Okay, Ryan's really good at this, but I'm going to get the answer. Thank you for all the extra stuff you're giving me. LP Mama is a script.
Yeah.
Does it show up Monday at the power up and show up on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, and then next Monday you pull out the listing consultation script, or does it show up on Monday? Goes in the file cabinet. Tuesday I'm pulling out the whatever script. Wednesday, a different. How many different scripts and how long do you work them until they got it? Or do you every day change that script that they're practicing?
I see what you mean. We do not do the same script over and over again. We don't do this, and we don't do LP Mama on Mondays and seller guides on Tuesdays. We base it and we cater it according to what our agents are working on. So that's going to alternate. It's not the same thing every time, and we don't do it day after day. But
so you've got a book of 100 scripts and you're just saying, this is the one they need today. This is the one they need today. This is the one they need today. If Correct. You come back to a script in a month, so what? That's what they need. But you go on to another script every day until you're giving them the right scripts each day.
Yeah, and what our team does, and not everybody does the same, I only lead scripts on Monday. Anthony Zapata's on Tuesday. Ryan Randall, my partner, he's leading the script on Wednesdays, or Aaron Bean. So we alternate through and we give them the authority to lead with what they want to lead, because that's what leaders want to do, right? They don't want to be told what to do. We give them guidance, but they're going to run with the script that they think is most valuable for the day as well.
There you go. Bob, that answers what you were wondering, right? How much do I need to put into this each time when I'm leading one of these things? Ryan's already showing us amazing leverage in his routine by saying, look, I only need to be responsible for Monday's script. Someone else figure out Tuesday, someone else figure out Wednesday based on what is needed. So audience, if you're alone, I don't care if you get 10 scripts and randomly pick one out, right? If you're leading, great, move on, have others help you as well.
All right, Brian, okay, so you guys go through practice. I love that analogy, the sports analogy. I always talk to my son about, like, Steph Curry, the greatest shooter in the history of basketball, still to this day walks into the gym and the first shot he takes is from immediately in front of the hoop, and he warms his shot up as he walks it out. I mean, I think I love that analogy. Don't just walk in the gym. He's not jacking up half-court shots like a lot of kids would think, right? So I love that. Okay, so you come out of scripts and you talked about, okay, now I'm essentially on the phones. You're like, I'm going to set an appointment. Is that your goal every day? Like, do you have a goal every day to set an appointment? Or is it to talk to 20 people? Like, how do you position your goal where you're saying, I'm going to do this thing consistently? What is that thing each day that you're aiming to do consistently?
Or is it time, right? Is it appointment? Is it number of people? Or is it, look, I'm doing this for 2 hours, no matter what comes from it anyway?
I think it's a combination, but ultimately the goal is an appointment. And let me tell you why. I think a lot of people celebrate false wins. For example, they say, I'm going to call 100 people today. And they do that day after day, week after week. But did they set an appointment? No. And they leave at noon or they leave at 1 thinking, I won today. I called 100 people. But you're not getting face to face. So for me, and what I encourage to my team is, let's celebrate by getting the appointment. If that takes you 50 calls, great. If you do that in the first hour, should you go home after that? No, because here's the thing. When you set that first appointment, are you excited or are you depressed? You're excited. Like, you're jacked up. And guess what? That's when your energy goes up and your enthusiasm goes up, right, Chuck? And you're like, man, I'm good. I'm like, I got this. Well, guess what? When you call somebody else, they're going to hear that. You're probably going to go set another appointment. So for me, my goal every day is to set one listing appointment specifically so that I can get one house on the market. So every week I can put a house on the market. So Ryan Randall, my business partner, can go do open houses at those new listings every weekend. So the appointment for me is the goal. And if you can encourage yourself to get that appointment every day, then you're starting to think about the correct wins. Now, I get that you might not get the appointment every day. So then plan B is 10 or 20 contacts a day. How many calls is that going to make you? Probably 100 to 200, depending on your skill level. How much time is that going to take you? Depends if you're using a dialer or manually dialing. Probably a couple hours. But for me, guys, like, I just know, look, I'm consistent. I have a regimen and a routine. I'm making those calls, unless I'm on a webinar like this, from 9 till noon with a couple breaks in between.
How much, so you have your partner, Ryan, and I love something you just said there, which is like, I go take the listing so that my partner can go out and hold the open house, find the buyers. How much pressure do you put on yourself because you have Ryan Randall as your partner? And in some ways, look, he's a smart guy. Like, he'd go find an open house to do, right? He's industrious. He'd find somebody else on the team or somebody else in the brokerage. But like, how much pressure do you feel kind of having somebody that you're responsible for in some ways?
That's one of the things I love and maybe hate the most about having the leverage and a business partner that you absolutely care about, is that I got to show up when I don't want to. Because if I don't show up, number one, it gives him permission to not show up. But number two, if I'm not putting numbers up, I'm taking money out of his pocket. And I can't do that. I love the guy too much. And I love my people too much. And I love my son too much. So the pressure is on. Now, the pressure is on me to start because I want to win. And I got big goals. And I want to lead by example. So the pressure is on me first and foremost. But the pressure is on because I want to put numbers up so that our team can do well, starting with Ryan and the ripple effect with everybody else in our team.
Everybody in here has Brivity. Yeah. I think, like, if you're sneaking in here, you don't have Brivity, welcome. You should get it. All right. Like, what does that routine look like then as you start to dive into your CRM? Are you just like, what does it look like? You're like, okay, we did power up, ready to go. I'm going to get on the phone. I sit down in front of my Brivity. What am I doing?
I'm calling the people that are most likely to transact right away. What is my quickest path to helping somebody with their real estate goals? In other words, what's my quickest path to a paycheck? In Brivity, that's your hot leads. Your hot leads are the people that either need to find the right house or are ready to list their house in the next month or two. So I'm calling my new leads first. If a new lead came in, I'm addressing those first, right?
Okay.
First thing. And when a new lead comes in throughout the day, I'm stopping what I'm doing to call them. And I'm calling them from my Brivity number. If they don't answer, I'm calling them from my cell number. If they don't answer, I'm texting them. I'm calling them again an hour later. I said this the other day. You have to be fearlessly relentless with these new leads. Because if they came to my website, they went to Chad's website, they went to Bob's website, like, they're looking. And when they're looking is when you want to get them. And if you call them once, like, anybody in the chat that gets a spam call, like, say yes in the chat, like, anybody else get 20 freaking spam calls a day? You're going to get all these dang calls. And if somebody sees a number they don't know, they're not going to answer it. But if they see it again, and then they see it again, and then they see a text, they might get a little annoyed to start. But guess what? Your mindset's what's most important. And I'm not here to annoy anybody. I believe in myself and in our team and in our trainings that when you connect with me, you're going to get the absolute best service you could possibly get in real estate. You're really lucky. And I have that reverse paranoia of calling people knowing, hey, it's in their best interest to answer the dang phone, because when they talk with me, I'm going to be the best realtor they've ever spoken with.
Yeah, it's a disservice if you don't speak to them, right? Which is the mindset you have to have. And Ryan, there's a great script, right? If you call them once, they don't answer, and you call them back 2 minutes later, Ben used to say he would call 3 times in a row immediately. But if you called them back a few minutes later and they're answering now, you've got the script of saying, look, I know you probably ignored the call the first time because you figured I was just one of those robo spam callers. I wanted to make sure that we got to connect, right? And now you're giving yourself permission to call them more than once, folks.
That's right.
You're in Brivity, you're called your new leads. Yep. Then you're calling your hot leads.
Yep.
Okay. And this is just every day. This is just I go in there, I sort, I look for new listings. I look for the people that are the hot leads in there. And that's who I'm calling. If you called them yesterday, are you calling them again today?
Depends on the person, but yes, most likely, especially a hot lead, because I want to stay in touch. Now, I think a lot of people go wrong, Chad, because they think, well, what do I call and say? Let me go find a house that they're going to want to see, and let me go do all this research, and then you call them, they don't even pick up. I think it's good for us to know value in whatever area people are looking, so that if you get them and when you get them on the phone, you can say something like, Bob, I was just calling. Hey, I know I called yesterday, but we talked about this, and I was just wanting to get a little bit more clarification. I was thinking about you. And I haven't seen the right house yet, but did you see this one? It's not even like at all maybe perfect for them. But they go, no, I saw that one. It's not the right one. I didn't think so, but I just wanted to make sure, Bob. So finding the value that you can add to people daily, mortgage rates, recently sold properties in the area, continuing to further the conversation on what they're looking for. But yeah, I'm calling them pretty dang regularly, Chad. And
okay, let me throw something in on what Ryan just said, folks. I want you to be careful, audience. Be the source of the source. So when he said mortgage rates, Ryan's not calling them and saying, hey, it's down to 6.375. He's saying, hopefully properly in the script, something like, I was talking with my lender who told me, right, that he was quoting rates of 6.375 today. That way it's not Ryan being the source, because we are realtors with real estate licenses, not lenders with those licenses that come with it. Be careful.
100%. Right. And use your stories, right, Chad? So that would sound like, Chad, hey, I was just calling. I know we talked yesterday. One of my clients actually got a really good deal on the mortgage rate buydowns with my in-house mortgage lender. Have you heard about that?
Good script. Bob, what you got? And
let's go. Okay, so
at the end.
We have new leads. Now we've banged our hot leads out. We're talking to the people, Ryan, that we think are like closest to a paycheck, like you said, right? Or a deal, a contract, an appointment, potentially. Some of those hots you would have already had one with, some probably not. What's next?
They've made it so easy for me now. You know, speaking of leverage, like we have a couple assistants and they send them that Brivity scorecard. I'm clicking my way through that. I mean, so it's breaking these things down in order. New leads, hot leads. It's telling me which hot leads haven't been called. It's telling me what people on the website looking at properties haven't been called, or looking at their market report haven't been called. I have really good leverage with that. And if you don't have that, then all you got to do is remember your categories on Brivity. So your new leads, then your hot leads, your recent on website, your recent market report viewers, your nurture leads. You work your way down that line, and you just do that consistently. And if you don't get the appointment, you ask for help. Hey, Chad, like I called 100 people today and I said this. Oh, interesting. Let's practice that a little bit. Right.
And that's back to the script stuff that we were talking about at the beginning, right? And helping people practice those scripts. Ryan, let me ask you this in your routine, because you're so routine. As you're calling, are you finishing a call with Bob and then taking a minute and going and putting all your notes into Brivity and all that? Or are you going through all your calls and then when you're done, you go back and update Brivity with what you've done? What's your routine?
My routine is I do it while I go, Chad, because I don't want to waste time and have to go back after. And if you were to look at my notes, you'd be like, man, that guy's grammar or spelling is terrible. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like I'm looking at my notes, like you could figure it all out if you really wanted to. So I'm typing as I go. I'm typing quietly though, because I don't want to, okay, Chad, tell me more.
All right, yeah.
And my notes are very simple and to the point. All I need to know is to be able to look at that note and trigger my memory of the important thing they said so I can bring that back up. But I'm taking them as I go, because if I don't...
Bob, that means you can't do that trick because you do not type quietly. We know that about you. Yeah, look, before Bob wraps this up, brings us to an end, and boy, we only got to lunchtime in Ryan's routine. I want to say this, everybody. If you are feeling the energy coming through this webinar that Ryan brings everywhere he goes, it's because of the 15-point plan. And nothing made me happier than the handoff that I got to do when I stepped away from the podcast and put it in the hands of Ryan and his partner, Jacqueline, who do it, because they had an amazing energy that comes from it and to give to it. So on top of your Brivity stuff, don't miss out on checking out the 15-point plan podcast that Ryan is the co-host of, because that'll help you have the energy the way he does, no matter what time you wake up.
Ryan, I want to thank you, Chad. I love the 15-point plan. Ryan and Jacqueline are doing an amazing job with it. Ryan, let's finish with this, okay?
Yeah.
Talk about consistency and the compounding. So you mentioned earlier, it's like, the consistency compounds. Talk about, I don't know, maybe share something about compounding that people just don't get, and that idea of like showing up every day. Let's end with something around compounding.
I think an example of that, Bob, is like if you look at my pending board back here, it's pretty stacked right now. And it's very easy for us to get a real estate deal, a pending, and then we go and service that thing. And we take our foot off the gas. And in the morning, instead of making my calls, I start dealing with the pending. I start calling title. I start doing inspection. All that stuff can wait. If you can consistently, even when you got double-digit pendings, do the right activities in the right order, your deals are going to compound. All that stuff can wait till the afternoon, and your brain can wait till the afternoon. So do the right activities first thing in the morning. Consistency with the lead generation, with setting appointments, will lead to compounding deals. If you take your foot off the gas and you go start servicing those deals, your consistency goes down. And guess what? Your compounding results go down. So stay consistent, doing the right activities in the right order. And the last thing I want to leave you with is the last C. And that's come from a place of curiosity. Like, ask people what they're up to and care about what they're doing, and just be curious in life. And that's it. And leave it at that. And leave a smile. Like my dad always said, like every room you leave, the people should be smiling a little bit more. I hope I gave you guys some smiles today and some knowledge today and some ways to increase your business today.
Ryan, you're amazing. Thanks for doing this, man. I know with everything you have going on, just to have a half hour of your time, we're honored. Chad, next week we're going to bring Jolene, the other side of the 15-point plan. You guys, I see what you're up to.
We're ganging up on you, Bob Stewart.
See what you're up to. Ryan, thanks, man. We'll see you later. Appreciate it. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week. See you, Chad.